And then you need to be able to, if you are planting a church, set the church up so the different tribes and races can find a home there.
Right.
You have to be intentional about that.
So what do you mean by that? What do you have to do differently?
Well, if I'm in Ghana, it will be important not to limit your worship songs to only one language, for example.
Right. Yeah.
So language is such and it communicates powerfully to people. So they come in, if they hear you singing a song in their language, it says yes, you're welcome here. But if you never did that, they will feel you are exalting the language you are using over and above others. So the worship is a key one. And you also need to find a way of, when you preach, do some translation into the local languages so that it's available for those who cannot understand the other languages. That's another way of keeping the doors open to other tribes and races. And also, you need to be able to be modeling this in some way. If young people want to get married and they come from different tribes and their parents are up in arms against that, you should be able to stand with them, encourage them, see the first one done, and the second one, and the third one. Then you breaking down serious strongholds. Yeah, so at every level, we could be doing something about it.
Very good, very good, very good. Okay, I think let's take a gear change now.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I'd just like to sort of go right back a bit and say, how actually, John, tell us a bit about your story as far as New Frontiers is concerned. How did you get to be involved in a movement that started originally in Sussex?
Yes, interesting. I come from Ghana originally.
Because that's not a Sussex accent, you know.
No, not at all. I come from Ghana originally, and I came up to Sussex University to do a PhD in biological sciences, and it was really research into bilharzia and other things. And the first church I found myself in was Terry's Church, actually.
Okay. So that's Church of Christ the King in Brighton,
yes,
isn't it?
It used to be called Clarendon Church then.
Yeah.
And I just loved it straight away. I just thought this is going to be my home. The friendship, or the friendliness of the people, the quality of the preaching. It took a while to get used to the worship because I thought it was a bit slow and
not African enough for you.
Not really. So I thought I'll never be able to sing this song. I'll never be able to.
I should say that probably
song.
For many people watching it would be considered very lively worship. John,
yes. But then, after a few months, I was able to get him. So I love it actually.
Yeah.
So that's
see, when we smile, it's like you whooping. Isn't that right?
Yes, that's right.
If you see an English guy clapping, that probably means he's really celebrating.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was in Terry's Church. That's how I got involved with the church. I was there for 4 years before going back to
and apart from the sort of superficial differences, if you like, of music and all that kind of stuff, what key differences did you notice that made you think, yeah, this is the kind of church I want to build?
I found Terry had a great emphasis on grace. There was grace foundations there, which released people and freed people to enjoy God and be able to reach out to each other in love and care. That was important. I felt that because of that foundation, that affected the whole, feel and structure of the church. There was also the whole manner. That was a time when the church was New Frontiers was actually forming. Terry was beginning to go out to other churches, plant churches, or support other churches, and was coming back constantly with these stories to tell us, reporting back to us what was happening in Italy, what was happening in these other countries. And it was just a very, very dynamic context in which we were. The leadership was superb, a team leadership, trustworthy leadership, reliable leadership. It was great to have that. You just felt secure with the guys at the time. It was good fun. There was real relationships. Hospitality was great. I got invited to many, many English homes, and I just assumed that was the standard thing in England until I asked my friends who were not part of our church, and they have never been to any English home. Apparently, you don't get to go into any English home when you're in England. So it was another community inside inside England, totally different, really. So I think, yeah, this thing spoke to me hugely.
And then something happened that meant you had to go back to Ghana. To do it. Oh, mind you, when did you meet your wife? We didn't ask you that. Yeah,
It was while at Sussex University.
Okay, so she was at the same church, was she? Or
She actually had just come to do a PhD as well in.
So was
in,
it love
Sussex
over a test tube?
Well, not exactly, over a cup of coffee. I think we're having coffee in the coffee room.
In the canteen.
The canteen.
Yeah. Not a Bunsen burner then.
No. She wasn't doing biological science. She was doing psychology. Psychology. Yeah, but we were in the same building.
Right.
Yeah. That's right.
So there you go. So
that's
you
what we
married
met.
in England as well, did you?
Yeah, got married in China.
And she's a white English woman, isn't she?
Yes.
Much more good
she's
looking than you, I'm afraid. But I
think so.
She's shy of
just
the
as
camera.
well. Yes.
So you went back home, and was it with the goal of planting a church, or what were you thinking?
Well, while here, I was a conference actually at this Brighton Center, which was Dr. Kranzak was asked to come and address the conference. And it was at that conference that I had a distinct call to go and plant churches. He issued the, what do you call it? He invited people who wanted to respond to the call to go and plant churches, and I just felt lifted from my seat right from the back, straight. I was probably the first person in front, and God gave me something then, which became a real stirring factor in my life. So when we went back to Ghana, I knew that I was going to plant churches. I thought initially I could work it out within the church that we were part of before I came to England, but it didn't work out. So in the end, I had to start from a totally different patch of ground. Just, completely new work I had to start.